Hey guys, welcome back to Community Cares. I'm Dave. I'm the Executive Director here at Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet.
And I'm Chaplain Chaz Blackburn, and I have the honor of being the president of Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet. And today we have a really special guest, as I always say, but we have so many special guests. This person is someone who's really doing a lot of great work in the community, and she really is special. She's one of our own at Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet, but she's also on the board for another great organization, so I'll let her go ahead and introduce herself.
Thank you. My name is Susan Goodman, and I am on the board of directors for the Washoe CASA Foundation, and I serve as their secretary.
You know, and recently, it used to be Susan Taylor.
It used to be Susan Taylor. But, yeah, in a couple of days, it'll be two months that I'm a newlywed.
Congratulations.
So a lot of people, if they know you in the community...
They know me as Susan Taylor.
Susan Taylor. And beyond that, also, at one point, you were the president of Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet.
Yeah, back and around.
I'm so sorry. Thank you for your service.
That was a while ago, right?
Around, I think 2013.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like around I was on the board from maybe 2010 to 2015.
Yeah, I had no clue who you were a few months. It was probably a year ago now, but maybe longer than a year. But you came in, you brought in the coat of many colors, which was a fundraising tool that Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet did at one point. And it was a fun, creative idea. I'm like, who are you? And you're like, oh, I used to be on the board. I was the president. Here is this. This belongs to Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet.
Right.
And I'm like, have you thought about volunteering again? And you're like, yeah, I think I will. And it was like right there. You just made the decision and knew you wanted to be a part of it.
Well, about the time that I brought that back to you, I had retired from both my teaching career and my ministry career.
Yeah.
So, and I was selling my house and I was cleaning things out, and it was okay.
Well, yeah.
Let's give this back.
Well, not only are you a volunteer, past president, and also now on the board of CASA, which keeps you very busy. You also are just so involved in the community in so many different facets. And you really do. You give financially to Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet. You give time to Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet, and you really do give your talents to Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet and other organizations. So, from the bottom of my heart, as one of our faithful volunteers here every single week, I just really want to say thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
You are most welcome. But I'm at a point in my life where I'm retired. I am married, so I'm not having to pay a mortgage. Mm-hmm. And so I've got time to give back to the community and, frankly, back to God, who has blessed me so richly for 70 years.
Well, thank you for pouring into us and choosing to pour into Good Shepherd. I mean, it really... the amount of time, the financial, how much you've supported us financially, and just the time even before that, historically, it just means so much to me. And you really are, you just glow as a volunteer. You really do. A lot of the clients love seeing you, and I really appreciate you.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I enjoy working with the clients. Back when I was on the board of Good Shepherd, we were in the 4th Street location.
Yeah.
And I was working at the time full-time as a teacher.
Yeah.
Well, it was only open Monday through Friday from 10:30 to 3. Mm-hmm. And so I never, except on summer break, I never got to even meet any of the clients that came through. So the change in hours at this new location has really been good for me.
That's awesome.
It's been, I've been able to do it.
Well, thank you. And thank you for being historically here, and also just your faithfulness to the organization. So I wanted to dive in and tell you, the listener, a little bit about what we're doing here at Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet and what this podcast is. So what we're doing here at Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet is we give away clothes free to those in need. We give over $70,000 worth of clothing free to the community. So we've done a lot of updates on our website. If if you haven't been on our website lately, definitely jump on and check out some of the updates. That's getclothes.org. The majority of the people that are on this show normally listen afterwards. And we have a lot of different areas you could listen and watch this podcast through Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all over Facebook and YouTube. So there's definitely a lot of different facets you can be to join in on this conversation.
Absolutely.
And Community Cares Podcast is a podcast where we go and we tell the community 3 upcoming events, and then after that we dive into a community resource.
Sometimes 4 or 5.
Sometimes
there's always a few extra we throw there.
But it's all about the community. It's all about being better together and growing. And I've had people find us that just type in nonprofit podcasts on Apple Podcasts or whatever else, and we get these comments, we get other things, and it's such a joy to see people being involved with what we're doing.
Absolutely. So. I did want to give a quick shout out. If you notice, I'm wearing Forever 14's hat here, Caleb's Angels, and that's a powerful organization to prevent teen suicide through connectivity and connection. We've had Carrie on before, the founding mother of Caleb, and I also want to give a shout out to Eric Millette, who is a fire captain for the city of Sparks, and his son Brandon unfortunately completed suicide at the age of 13, and he makes these beautiful bees out of wood. And so I just wanted to recognize this because we always talk about being the change that we want to see in the world, like our cliche little saying there. But this is beautiful. It says, remembering Brandon, and it says, be hopeful, be peaceful, be mindful, be loved. And so I wanted to recognize that 3-year anniversary since his passing and let you know that we love you and your wife, Eric, and you're in our thoughts and prayers. And then also wanted to give a shout out to Forever 14. They do a lot of great work. You can learn more about them at forever14.org. And, we've had a lot of tragedy recently as a community in this sector, unfortunately. And so that's what we're all about, though. Even this podcast, we talk about being stronger, united, about the connection and just connecting organizations and nonprofits to work together.
That's right.
But not to, start off with a somber event or somber thought, but I did want to share that. And this next first event is actually a lot more fun. So I'm really excited about this.
Before we jump into that, hey, dude, guess what? This is episode 40.
Whoa, the big 4. Oh, yes.
We're 40 episodes old.
That's awesome. You mean we actually committed to do this for almost 40 weeks straight?
That's crazy. We did it. Wow. You've been stuck in this little room with me for 40 episodes?
When you first approached me, it was really funny because you said something like, hey, I've been thinking about this podcast, would be good. And I was like, yeah, that would be really cool. I'm like, so what do you think of, like, once a month? And you're like, every week at Monday? I was like, what? You expect me to come here? But it's been, honestly, I've enjoyed getting to know you and also the relationships that we've been able to build with our guests.
Yeah.
I've seen so much fruit from that. We have seen so much fruit from that. And I actually look forward to Mondays now. Monday's always a tough day, but I enjoy this time with you and our viewers. And so congratulations to you as well. Thank you for all your ideas and putting this together.
Thanks, man. Well, it really is a community effort. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for listening, because we have listeners, we have viewers. People listen to us when they're on their way to work and, just download the podcast and do all sorts of things. And it's crazy to think that people want to hear me and Chaz talk to someone for 40 minutes.
35, 40 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's a huge blessing. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this as well, because without you, there is no podcast. Without a listener, without a supporter, there is no conversation. That's the reality. So without you, we wouldn't exist. So thank you guys so much. So let's dive into some of these upcoming events.
Joyce said, congratulations on 40 podcasts. Thank you, Joyce, for being faithful. Joyce has been a volunteer for over 15 years, another amazing volunteer, and I just love our GSCC family.
Oh yeah.
But let's dive into the first event, which is Senior Idol. So L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only. I'm just kidding. Nika might get mad. I'm singing that too.
I got places to be.
Do you think I should do Senior Idol? Should I be a contender?
Are you a senior? Do you have to be a senior?
Well, I don't know.
You have an AARP card.
They actually have some great prizes. So it's going to be every 4 weeks starting tomorrow. and it's from 1 to 3 at the Washoe County Senior Center off 9th Street. And you can just show up, and then we'll have a quick sign-in sheet. At the end of 4 weeks, we actually pick 3 or 4 finalists. Or I'm sorry, each week we pick finalists, and then on the 4th episode, or that 4th Thursday, which will be June 11th, we will have the finale, and it's really fun. And we have, I think it's a $125 gift card,
Wow.
$100 gift card, $75. It may even be one that's $175. I can't remember, but you
That's
can go
really
to
cool.
colhospice.com to see the flyer and learn more. It's so much fun though, and it's for the community. So even if you're not a senior, I'm sorry guys, you can't be a contestant, but you can come and just show up and support these seniors who are out there. We have line dancers, we had a juggler, poetry. I mean, just a whole plethora of talent, and it's fun to watch these seniors. I always get a good laugh.
Are you gonna wear your new T-shirt?
You mean this cool t-shirt? I love it. It's awesome. This is our Good Shepherd Clothes Closet t-shirt. Will be available at our Desserts from Around the World on 7-Eleven, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Thursday.
7-Eleven. I didn't even think about that.
I know. That's why I was saying
7-Eleven.
yes. That's a
Whoa.
7-Eleven.
Wait a second.
And that's going to be a great event. It's $50 tickets for now. The prices will go up. You can get them through our Facebook. We have a PayPal link or the website at getclothes.org.
Yeah.
But
Front page.
definitely
getclothes.org.
limited space, so please get those tickets early.
Yeah.
And guys, we really just want to see families and just have some fun.
Yeah.
We will have some silent auction items, and then some cool swag like this, and some other swag, which I'm so excited about.
It's cool swag. Yeah. Oh yeah. We're working on some stuff. We're percolating some things. So these shirts will only be available at fundraisers or different kinds of events like that. So
Yeah, and Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet, it's a movement. It's a lifestyle, right?
Yep.
Hope and dignity. I love that. So be a part, get some shirts and swag and help us drive the awareness in the community.
absolutely. And so we're super excited for that event coming up as well. And then the third event we want to mention is actually one, Sue, you mentioned. So I'd like you to kind of take it from here. The Iris Show at Moana Nursery on Lakeside. Why don't you tell us what it's all about?
That's right. Every year, the High Desert Iris Society, which is kind of the broader Reno area, but
Yeah.
we kind of have members in California, Carson City, Dayton. We are a group of people that are passionate about irises.
I love it.
And we're talking the flower.
Not the eyes.
Yeah, not the eyes, not Irish. But every year we hold a show where people, members and non-members, can come and show off their iris blooms.
That's cool.
So if you want to show your irises, you show up usually like 8:30 on Saturday morning. That would be June 1st at Moana Nursery. But if you just want to come and look at some gorgeous flowers, and let me tell you, there are so many different colors and combinations and sizes. You're welcome to come from I think 1 to 4 on Saturday or 9 to 3 on Sunday, and just enjoy looking at beautiful flowers. And it is held not in Moana Nursery, the sales area, but on the other side of the parking lot, they have a educational building.
Oh, cool.
And so it's going to be in there.
That's super
awesome.
fun.
I think there's so much, we hear it all the time, stop and smell the flowers. But it really, working in hospice at Circle of Life Hospice, I've learned this from families and the gifts of the dying is really the small things become the big things, and the big things become the small things. And so the small things like going for a walk and enjoying God's creation and the beauty and smelling the flowers, those things matter. And there's something really healing, I think, about doing those little things. Going for a hike, that's what we're all about the events, is getting people to go out and
be a part of it.
Yeah, so that's something I might actually show up to. That's amazing.
Right. And first off, it's free. And then also on Saturday afternoon, we're having a symposium and having 15-20 minute subsequent classes about iris and gardening.
That's so cool.
Awesome.
Whoa.
Well, that's awesome. And just so you guys know, too, Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet will be closed next Monday, and we have a special episode planned just for you. So be on the lookout for that.
That's a really cool guest.
A really cool guest. But
maybe even a Woman of the Year for Nevada. Oh.
Time, wasn't she on like...
Yeah, it was a Woman of the Year on Times Magazine.
Yeah, that's what it
for
was.
Nevada, which is a huge accomplishment. So
yeah, she's on our next podcast. But Sue, I think that's an awesome event. Thank you for sharing that with us. And that's the first weekend of June, so that's coming up quick. It's almost June.
Yeah, it is.
You better order that swag quick if it's coming up.
That's all right. We'll get it. We'll get it all ordered and make it happen. So thank you guys so much. And our final event we want to highlight is the Reno River Fest, and that's at downtown Reno, and that's be from June 7th to the 9th. And I love that event. It's always one of my favorite ones to see the big festival at the river. They always have fun things to do, and I believe they have a kayak competition.
Oh yeah.
So, and it's really cool to see. So if you have some time, definitely come on down to the river. We're not hosting these events. We're not sponsored by these events. Nothing like that. The reality is all we want to do is tell you what's happening to encourage you to go out and be a part of the community.
Yeah.
That's it. We have no skin in the game by highlighting these events, except for the desserts from around the world. That is in support of Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet. But most of these events are all just for the community. We're trying to get you to know what's happening besides other things.
Well, I did want to say it's been really neat. Oh, Rob says kayak guys there are amazing. It is pretty cool watching them flip over. It's kind of scary. I actually got to do a little kayaking down the river there. Because my friend owns a bunch of kayaks, and it is not as easy as it looks.
No, dude.
I mean, it takes some endurance, but it is a lot of fun.
So my wife and I, I think it was 2 years ago, we were going down the river on tubes. We had both of our dogs, and we had tubes. And we were all on this couple of these bigger tubes that we had or whatever, and we made it down most of the river with our two dogs. And we had a cooler. We had all sorts of things. And it was full of
that sounds
drinks.
like an adventure.
It was fun. Yeah, we started up at Idlewild and we just went all the way down. It was pretty good until the very end. The very end, the tube flipped.
Oh,
my wife flipped. We didn't have life vests on.
Oh man, that's dangerous.
And that's very dangerous. That's not smart to do.
So
I do not recommend it.
Yeah, don't do what Dave and Nika did.
And it was scary. Like Scraps looked like he was gonna drown. So I got my dog Scraps and my little wiener dog, and then Lady's fine because she's like she's amazing. She could do anything, I swear. And then I got Scraps and I got my wife, and then I think Nika had Lady, and it was pretty scary. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, she's like, oh, but the tube. I'm like, just let it go. Let the tube go. It was like, I think we got it for like $10 somewhere, and so I was like, that doesn't matter. But it was scary. My dad doesn't know the story. My dad's like, what?
That story gives me a river of emotion.
It was a couple of years ago, so it wasn't recent. But I think it was before I worked at Good Shepherd. But it was scary.
I'm glad you're safe. That's good. Don't do that again.
I will not. I'll wear my life vest. My dad's a safety dude, and so he's probably listening to this.
Oh, no kidding.
Like,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. He's like, what? Sorry, Dad. Now you know.
It's amazing what comes out on these live episodes. Hey, I did want to say, pretty sure your parents taught you water safety.
I know. They're always on the lake, and we always had boats and stuff growing up. So I'm terrible.
Jeez.
But I've always been the rebel. I've always been the guy that I do things I'm not supposed to do. So
that's note taken.
I know, it's true. You've worked with me now for. How long have you been on the board?
I've forgotten. It feels like 10 years now. No, it's been an honor.
You've seen some stuff. I'm a risk taker. That's who I am.
Well, educated risks sometimes you have to take, right? Everything can be a risk. We just have to make good decisions and pray about it. So
yeah.
Hey, I did want to say something really cool that happened though. So if you're out there and you're part of a nonprofit organization that's local, please reach out to us. We'd love to have you on the show. But we actually had someone who started a nonprofit for newborns, and she reached out and asked to be on the show, and I was like, of course. And she's like, well, can I come? I'm in Florida. I said, well, we can't get people, in the show yet. We're not doing that. We're just doing live or in person. But I thought that was so cool because she saw our show. She's been watching it from Florida.
Hey, I'm not against that, honestly.
We could do it. Absolutely.
I'm
down the
actually
road.
not against that.
The only thing is I really do like keeping it local right now because
Okay.
we're really connecting to the local community. But we can talk about it.
We didn't talk about this before. This is literally live. You guys are hearing Chaz and I talk about it.
We'll see what happens. I'm not saying I'm against it. I do like the local feel. We're a local show, but
I do, but I don't think we have anything like that around here.
we're not doing 2 shows a week, Dave. Sorry.
Why not? Let's do it. Why not 3 shows a week?
Oh, man.
We can make that happen.
But anyways, I thought that was super cool though. That what a compliment. And
Yeah.
she shout out to her. I forget her name respectfully, but she is starting that nonprofit, and I gave her your email to reach out because
Great.
she wants to learn how to be able to do like the baby shower that you did. And
Oh,
so
cool.
I thought that was
Cool.
so cool though.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Was that through Facebook? I didn't even see that.
Yeah. I know
Okay.
you gotta pay attention to those things.
I know. Sometimes I don't. Oof.
Wait, we're a team here. We all help each other. No, seriously, because not one person can do it. So
Yeah. So thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. Those are the events that we wanted to highlight this week. There are so many other events happening in the Reno Sparks community all the time. So we highly recommend still seek out events, be in the community, be a part of what's happening. There's so much fun things to do around here. So without further ado, Sue, you told me about CASA. I actually didn't know about CASA. I think Chaz did, but I didn't. And you were telling me about it, and then you're like, "Hey, Dave, will you be a reference for me for the board of CASA?" I'm like, "You sure you want me to be a reference?" Like, "Yeah, I think so." And I'm like, "All right, well," but you honestly have more qualification. You are you're in the community all over the place. You've been in ministry for a long time. You've done a lot of different things. So, but today you're representing CASA. So will you please share with us all about CASA, what they're doing in the community, and why it matters?
and how you got involved as well, if that's okay. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, maybe I can start with my story.
Love it.
I spent 14 years in the Washoe County School District teaching elementary school.
Yeah.
And
Brave, you're so brave.
and I taught younger grades, but we had several foster homes in our school zone.
Yeah.
And so every year or every other year, I would have foster children as a part of my classroom. And the stories that I heard from these children about what they were going through. One little boy, frankly, was dumped on his grandparents' doorstep while his parents went to California, I guess escaping maybe legal issues, with his twin sister and an older brother.
Wow.
And then Grandma and Grandpa got busted for meth.
Oh.
And so this little guy, no family's available. He's in foster care. And he had a happy ending. His foster family fell in love with him and adopted him. But it was still, it's very uncertain. Where am I going to end up?
Right.
Why don't my parents want me? The second child I had was another little boy, and he was in foster care. Dad was in jail. Mom, and there were, Mom would come visit, but Mom was not able to take care of him and his brother.
Oh.
He was very rough with people, I think, because that was the role model his father was for him. He didn't know how to be a friend.
Yeah.
It was like, "Oh, I love you," bam.
Oh.
So, and he really struggled with the social skills.
Gotcha.
And after seeing what those little guys went through, it was like, gosh, when I'm no longer teaching, I want to, I want to do something for these kids.
Yeah.
And the time I had a cousin who worked for the CASA program in Dallas, and CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocate.
Yeah, so Rob McLaughlin, he shouted that out. He says it's an awesome group. So he's a big fan of what you're doing.
Yeah. So I began when I was finally retired and COVID was starting to end. I saw on social media that there was an opportunity to apply to be a CASA volunteer.
Okay.
So I applied. then, they did kind of a background check, or maybe that was later. But after I applied, they accepted my application. And at the time, we were just coming out of the pandemic. So I had, I think, 6 to 8 weeks of training on Zoom, where we met with a CASA supervisor who told us what was going to be involved.
Sure.
And trained us so that we would be ready. And then we, of course, had background checks and fingerprints because we would be working with children.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And you have to do that.
It's important.
And by the way, I have my fingerprints in multiple places in Washoe County because they don't share them.
No, they don't.
That's good.
But, CASA pays for this.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went through the training. I was sworn in by the court. And a few months later, I was asked to become a court-appointed special advocate for a 7-year-old girl who had been already in foster care for 2 years. Her story was that she and her mother had come to Reno when she was 2 years old when her father passed away. Mm-hmm. And they stayed in Reno, but where they were staying, there was not a safe place for her. Mm-hmm. And long story, she ended up living in the car with her mother.
Wow.
So Child Protective Services was called, and they realized that this was not a good situation. And so Child Protective Services said, we need to put you in a place that is safe. And so she was taken into foster care and assigned a social worker.
Right.
When I met her, she was in her second family. Mm-hmm. And I remember it was right after Christmas of 2021. So social services for 2 years really hadn't done much about finding a permanent placement for her. And I think that's why they called the CASA in.
Yeah.
We've been told that, there are 623 children in foster care right now in Washoe County as of Friday. And there are only 74 CASA volunteers that are available to the community. And so usually the cases that need the most help are the ones that get assigned to CASA. Yeah. Some of them, and again, I don't believe these are children that are already living with relatives. But anyway, they're in the foster care system. So it had been 2 years. They finally had gotten a hold of a relative in Utah, a half-sister who was an adult, and social services was going to send her there. Well, the first day I met her, I said, what do you want me to know? I don't want to move to Utah. Because she had interactions with this adult sister, half-sister, and it was not good. Okay. And so as her CASA, I listened to her, what she wanted, why she wanted it, and then I started calling family members, teachers, relatives. Yeah. I talked with the social worker and tried to draw a picture of these people that were in her life. Mm-hmm. And then my job as the CASA is to interview all these people, listen to the child, and then I write a report to the court. Mm-hmm. And luckily I have a supervisor that goes over it very thoroughly so that everything is appropriate so and
it works right. Yeah,
my spelling is good.
I get it.
I mean, you don't want to send a report to a judge with bad grammar and bad spelling. And actually, it's not that. I taught
you're
reading.
a
yeah, I was gonna say you were a teacher. You're fine.
But anyway, the court listens to the CASA because we are a fairly partial, non-biased person in this child's life.
Sure.
We're not trying to get custody.
Right.
We're not a relative. We have no financial skin in the game.
That's great.
No political skin in the game because you're not working for the municipality or the government or the Washoe County.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
No. I basically, I do this as a volunteer. I do not get paid.
Yeah.
Although I will say, and I'll get to that later, the CASA Foundation does support, not only do they recruit and train the volunteers, but the foundation also gets gift cards from or places in the community, like, I mean, we have Starbucks gift cards, and they buy them. Sometimes they're donated.
Yeah.
Cool.
But we get different gift cards, so
That's
we
nice.
can take the child out
Yeah.
into a neutral place and start having
Which is so awesome,
conversations.
because that's really getting them out of the chaos, even if it's just for an hour, to be able to go outside with a trusted volunteer and be able to do something just to take their mind off it for a little bit, or just have a conversation where they can safely vent. I
Right.
mean, that is so important.
And Rob McLaughlin says, because if you're wondering, you can comment if you're listening and you're not sure if you want to join in our live conversation. It's on Mondays at 5:45 p.m. every single Monday, and we'd love to have you on. Oh, we're having some light and stuff. So what he was saying is foster families do amazing work. They need more support and help. So he has someone in his life that's been affected by it and is really thankful for people like you.
Well, yeah, and so when all of this went through, I interviewed all these people, and when the foster family found out that, maybe this child can be placed with someone that's not a blood relative, they said, we love her. We want to adopt her.
Wow.
Aww.
And I talked with them. I've gotten to know them because that's where I pick her up. We got to know each other because at the time when I first started working with her, she was going to counseling every week because she has had some trauma in her life.
Oh, I'm
Right.
sure. Right.
And that is, or most foster children have trauma, and so they are, that's part of the treatment that social services provides for them. She didn't have a ride from school. So I started, I said, hey, I'm retired. And I started driving her every week.
That's
and then
beautiful.
I would take her out for, she liked to go to Yogurt Beach and Starbucks. And, that would just give us time to get to know each other and chat. And we've done that for 2.5 years.
Well, and thank you for just sharing kind of your experience volunteering for CASA. So if you had to sum up, and I guess the name really does sum up what you guys do, but if you had to, is there like a catchphrase or something very specific that CASA says, like what they're all about?
We can change a child's story, like was mentioned.
Wow.
They were social services was going to send her to live with this relative in Utah.
Yeah.
And then after all this, the sister finally said, you know what, I'm not the best thing for her. Social services says, okay, fine.
Wow.
And so instead of being sent to Utah, she is now on the road. They're pending adoption by the foster family.
That's huge.
I just want to add real quick, because they were talking about foster care parents, which are great. We do need more foster care parents. I was
Definitely.
just talking to some leaders in Washoe County privately on how we can kind of change those dynamics. But my message to you as a viewer, if you can do that, because not everybody can, this is something you could do to make an impact for those children, is volunteer with CASA. And they desperately need those volunteers. The other part I wanted to add was that it's not just volunteering. So there's the court side, which is great because it's an outside influence of accountability and just extra layer of support. But for the children, imagine these children and what they're going through. I mean, I can try to imagine. I can't really fathom. And so to know that there's somebody that comes in that's not paid and that is a volunteer, that is going to give that child hope to not be jaded for the rest of their life, that there are good people. And so I just want to really acknowledge that because I think it's so important that we have. This is a way that most people can get involved. I think Dave's laughing because the lights are...
It's the light.
Yeah.
It's the light that's bothering me.
Well,
It's my
it's okay.
perfectionist mindset. But
okay.
we're pretty much at the
Hey,
end.
we're doing a CASA rave show.
I know. If you have epilepsy, we are so sorry.
Yeah. Well, I know we're winding down, but one of the things I wanted to tell you about is usually twice a month, we have what's called Coffee with CASA. So if you
I like
are
it.
at all interested, we have June 19th, we're doing it in person. But most of the time it's on Zoom. But this is a time to hear about what CASA is,
Yeah.
what's involved, and ask any questions you might have.
Yeah.
Because again, we change a child's story. I've talked to people who have their CASA kids have been in 7 or 8 different foster homes.
Wow.
And the constant in their life is their CASA.
Well, and you look at the trajectory, like Rob said. How many? I want to say it was 7 out of 10 foster children will go through drug addiction, or trying drugs. It was staggering, and don't quote me. It was something close to that.
Right.
And this is something that could really, you can walk alongside these children and just love on them, and be that person that's trying to make a difference. That could change. That's a game changer.
I don't have the statistics, but I believe that children that have a CASA have better outcomes than foster children who don't have
I don't
a
doubt
CASA.
it. I bet it's a huge difference. Yeah.
We're advocates for them.
Yeah.
And so the coffee with the CASA. Can I see one of those?
Yeah.
I'm loving this because I know you're a perfectionist in the life.
I've got,
Oh, so Zoom meetings and in-person meetings. I think that's awesome.
Right.
So,
and if there's
register.
a QR code, but if you can't do the QR code, thank you, Dave. You can also go to WashoCasaFoundation.com.
Love it.
WashoCasaFoundation.com. And you can sign up for that. There's no obligation if you go to the coffee. They will follow. They ask you to register.
Mm-hmm.
If you come or don't come, they'll follow up with you. But we would love to tell the CASA story to people that are interested in making a difference in the life of a foster child.
And I want to say, I think you can make a difference. Even if you're out there watching this and you can't be a CASA volunteer, you don't have time, totally understandable. Don't have financial means to be able to donate. I'm going to ask you and challenge you today because this is a huge need. There's 679 kids, but is what I was told. But what you
629,
said,
I think.
29. So 629 kids, and how many volunteers currently?
74.
If we could have even half of those kids have a CASA volunteer, that could make a huge difference. So I want to challenge every single person that's watching this, and I don't do this every episode. I'm going to ask you to share this podcast because this is a way we can make a difference, and we've got to get more volunteers involved. And so please share this out.
And if it doesn't work for you, maybe you know somebody who would be interested and able to do this.
And by sharing it, you never know who might be watching on your profile, who might learn this might be a good fit. So like Sue said, so let's go ahead and share that out. And Dave, I'm going to keep interrupting. No,
No, you didn't interrupt. I what I was going to do is definitely visit and be a part of this. This coffee with the CASA is a brilliant idea. I'll probably steal that.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. That's a great idea. I love it, absolutely. And so this is what it's all about, is us coming together, us being the community. And yes.
Just one more thing.
Absolutely.
I have to say that this is probably the most rewarding thing I have done probably in the last decade.
Wow. That's awesome.
It is, I get as much out of it, I think, sometimes as the child.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think actually, I know it doesn't fix all the things in our lives, but I just want to wrap up with this for me. There's so much power in giving back. So if you're grieving, you're struggling, you're going through hard times, find something that you can give back in, because that's really, we're designed to love each other. Mm-hmm. And that's where I find joy and happiness, is through working through different organizations. So I commend you for all the work you're doing. I thank you for joining the board. And actually taking, Sue met with me for coffee. She's talking to different leaders in the community to talk about how can we get the word out. And that takes a humbleness, but also a passion. And I think, CASA is open to ideas. So I wanted to give a shout out to Foster the City. We would love to get more involved in the faith organizations. And specifically, I think that they would be a great partner for you, because though some people can't be foster parents, they could possibly volunteer. So I encourage you to reach out to them and let them table with you, because I think it's a great partnership opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And if you are watching this, please share, please like, please get involved. And if you want to get involved with Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet, please visit getclothes.org. We give away over $70,000 worth of clothing every single month, and we help over 700 people a month.
You could work with Dave, literally. How cool is that?
But I will say, volunteering on Monday afternoons, the people are often so very, very grateful.
Yeah.
One lady said, I can't afford the gas to go to the laundromat, so I come here to get more clean clothing.
Wow.
Once every 30 days.
Absolutely.
But she says gas is so high, I can't, and it's $10 to do 2 loads of laundry.
I mean, did you guys hear what she just said? The person, unfortunately, cannot afford the gas to go to the laundromat to clean her clothes. I mean, there you go. The small things we take for granted, like having a washer and dryer in our home, and so she can come get clean clothes here. I mean, that is really telling. Wow.
Yeah, that was today.
Well, thank you for being a volunteer and then also being a volunteer with CASA. Hey, we help 700 people a month, no matter what. We're asking you to come alongside and help one. All right, guys, thank you so much. We will see you next week.